Watching pranks in the US is like watching your favorite TV series as a kid, and watching pranks in Russia is like finding out that your favorite TV series as a kid had dozens of sexual references, and then you're thinking, God damn, that was a whole world I was missing. Pretending to be a dog? Boom! Wrestling with cops? Boom! Sitting on someone's face? Boom! So why are pranks in Russia are so badass compared to pranks in the US? And the answer lies in the rules of being a Russian prankster. Rule number 1. Cops don't give a fuck.
Hey, H. I thought you said you wanted to talk to me.
I'm gonna call the cops.
That is a direct message to all the Karens in the US. If you think to yourself that you're gonna call the cops in Russia and say, hey, can you send a police officer? Someone is pranking me and is filming me without my consent. The cops are definitely gonna show up. Just to slap you. Come on, I'm joking. That was just a prank. The cops won't show up at all. Because the truth of the matter is, cops in Russia aren't being paid enough to care. Let's get into the shoes of a Russian cop. Your life is shitty because A, you live in Russia, and B, you probably live in this building. Obviously, you barely make any money, it's freezing cold outside, and suddenly you get a call. Vodka squad over, we got a complaint about a prankster. No thanks, Chief Officer Vova, I'd rather sit in my car and watch some Stalin documentary. So yeah, basically pranksters in Russia can prank whoever they want, and they can do whatever the they want. Wanna prank prisoners? Just go to the nearest protest and Putin will grant you your wish. Have you ever wanted to fight cops? Now you can, if you ask them nicely.
По-настоящему.
That boy is Benny Hanna.
Чё, блядь, хуя? Давай, постучи. Пусти, блядь. Постучи. Стучи. Ну и чё ты вышел, блядь? Чё ты доказал что-то, блядь? Нахуй вы заёбываете, блядь? Я с полицией никогда не дрался, не собираюсь, блядь.
Seriously, in the US, I'm scared to ask a cop what time it is, because he'll tase me and arrest me for disturbing the peace. But in Russia, cops don't give a fuck if someone is disturbing the peace. They don't care. So streets in Russia are like the Wild West if you're a prankster, because you can do anything you want. You can threaten people without any consequences because you know that they're not gonna call the cops. So as a law-abiding citizen, you're basically on your own. Good luck, son. Rule number 2 of Russian pranks. Political correctness does not exist.
Привет. Вам соска не нужна? Нет. Как нет? Ну, попробуйте, новая акция проходит у нас. Вышел отсюда. За 100 рублей сосет писю. Давай, Витечка, работаем. Витька, работаем.
Уйди, я сказал.
Дайте ему писю в рот и все пройдет.
Хотел, что ли?
Поеблу.
That is the core reason that pranks in Russia are so damn brutal. In Russia you can say anything to any whom, and if he's offended, that's his problem. Just try not to offend Putin because he will offend you back. He's got some good bars, trust me. But in the US, that is the complete opposite. Pranksters actually hold themselves not to use certain words to not be cancelled, and they don't want to offend anyone. But in Russia, they don't have that. Political correctness just doesn't exist. I was born in a very poor hole that's called Chelyabinsk. That's the equivalent of being born in cool Texas. Both names sound cool on paper, but they're both shitholes. I didn't grow up in Russia because my parents moved out when I was a baby, but I remember that my cousin came to visit me, and on the first day he told me, yo Mark, you're too soft to be living in Russia. Because I grew up in a very politically correct culture where you choose your words carefully not to offend anyone, and in Russia it just doesn't exist. If you're offended, well then f*** you. The point being, nobody's getting any special treatment, no matter what your race is, no matter what your ethnicity is or your weight, height. So that's why pranks in Russia are so hardcore to watch, especially if you're an American. The camel toe prank, for example. It is very politically incorrect to go up to a girl and say, hey, you got a nice camel toe. Yeah, you're gonna be arrested. So when an American prankster says that, there has to be a punchline, and the punchline is obviously the camel.
Whoa, your camel toe is huge.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Yeah.
Wow.
So the camel, like the actual camel, softens the joke and makes it acceptable. You see, Stacy, it was just a prank. There is a camel behind you. Where? I'm joking, that was just a prank, the camel is between your legs. That's a sexual harassment. Well, welcome to Russia. In Russia, the camel toe prank has no punchline. The punchline is the camel toe itself.
Поранили? Ну вы видите же? Скажите, женщина, у нее ж порез.
Obviously, there's a packaging around the joke to actually make it funny. Pranks in Russia are very direct and nobody gives a fuck if someone is offended.
Слышишь, петушара, вставай нахуй. Вставай, вставай, сейчас тебе, блядь, буду выносить нахуй. Прям ебасосину с ноги. Вставай, вставай нахуй. Ты о чем вообще? Вставай, ебать.
I know. The aggressive alpha male inside of you is probably thinking right now. Seriously, Mark, if some Adidas wearing Russian is gonna prank me like that, I'm gonna break his face and turn it into a Rubik's Cube. Well, good luck with that, because that brings us to the third rule of Russian pranks. Fights are completely normal. In Russia, pranksters will fight if something goes south, but in the US, they just run and scream, "It was just a prank, bro!"
It's a prank, bro! It's a prank! Bro, hey, it's a prank! Bro, it's a prank!
Even if someone actually punches them right in the face, those guys just run and scream, "That was just a prank, bro!"
Back the fuck up, nigga.
Just a prank, dude. Hey,
Damn.
Oh, dude, you alright?
The only time I saw a guy fighting back in the US was this guy, Victor Crazy TV, which, by no surprise, is Russian. And I think it all comes down to the audience. The American audience actually likes it when their favorite prankster is running away like a little bitch, because they always see the person that's been pranked as the victim, but in Russia, they just wanna be entertained. They don't care about ethics or victimhood. Unless it's a babushka. You would never see a prankster pranking a babushka because babushkas, aka older ladies in Russia, are holy. You can't touch them. And as a Russian prankster, there isn't such a thing as, "It's just a prank, bro." If you're gonna run away from a fight, then your audience will lose respect for you. They're gonna lose respect for you and see you as a loch, which is basically a combination of a pussy and a sucker. And in Russia, you don't wanna be perceived as loch, trust me. So if someone is actually hitting you, you're gonna have to fight back. Even if the guy has a knife or a gun, you just can't run away and scream, "Help me, that was just a prank." So that's why in almost every Russian prank you're gonna watch, there's gonna be a fight, always.
Я серьезно говорю, блядь, ну в пизду, бля, я же тебя предупреждал. Я могу и по-другому въебать, то я...
Как? Ты ж такой умный, ебать. Что-то ты уже не сильный, я вижу, да? Да хуя на себя взял. Да хуя на себя взял. А я тебя трогал пальцем, ты, черт.
Ты меня гнида,
Я тебя трогал, ёб. Я тебя трогал пальцем, ты ёб.
And the second reason is that fights in Russia are not such a big deal. You can fight someone, shake hands, and that's it. That's why I really think Russian pranksters are much crazier than US pranksters, because the Russian pranksters just never play the victim card. And US pranksters can actually say the most outrageous things and then they act as if nothing happened. Bro, I don't know why you're being so aggressive. I just asked if I can f*** your mom and steal your car. What did you say right now? I'm joking, bro. That was just a prank. It's all good, no worries. Except the mom part. But anyway, I guess that is just the culture. Russian pranksters are just trolling people and fighting people, and American pranksters are just trolling people. Rule number 4, and the last rule of Russian pranks. And this rule is what makes pranks in Russia just Giga Chad level of pranks. People have the best reactions, because the Russians are Russians. Yeah, Russians are Russians. Every time you watch a Russian prankster, they don't just troll people. Those guys can know how to press the exact button to make people go crazy, make Russians go crazy. And what's the best reaction? Come on, guys, I taught you well. Violence! Obviously violence, because Russians like to watch a good brawl just like a pedophile with a mustache likes elementary schools. Even if the guy is not reacting and is ignoring the prankster will keep pushing and pushing and pushing until he hit that sweet spot, and then the guy goes crazy. Russian pranksters are not giving up easily. They wanna get a reaction out of you. Pranksters are just gonna harass you more and more until they get the reaction. And I know what you guys are thinking. Mark, that's not ethical. Like, that's an harassment. And you guys are basically right. But that's Russia. Pranks can go far. Way too far. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this cultural lesson. Bye.